Hey guys, it's been a little bit of a slow week last week. That way there was no update because I hadn't done much. I built one wall and that's laying on the ground. You see me do that enough times, but we're kind of moving along. Hopefully we've got some weather coming for the next couple days and we can actually get things done. But anyways, I'm going to try lifting this wall and getting it kind of out of the way because I'd like to build the next wall almost where this one is. So, nobody around, so I'm going to give it a good try myself. Not that they wouldn't come if I called, but you know, I shouldn't have to call them every time I need a little help here. So I think I'm going to give this one a shot myself. I've got it all lined up. This is a bit of a pain in the butt though. This one is not faceted at the bottom, so it's going to be free swinging at the bottom. I'll have to be careful. I put some blocks in the bottom so it didn't crush the OSB that's hanging over. I can't come straight on, unfortunately, because the damn, what do you call it, pole is in the way there, the power pole. Let me walk away here, walk around and show you. There's my power pole, the power coming into the building, the conduit, right in the way. And if you look on the ground, there's my two drain pipes. So I had to move off center so I don't hit them. So I don't like lifting off center. I thought about coming up at the other side, but it's pretty much a slope on the ground right there. It'd be tough to come in anyhow. And I've got the power panel that comes in. The main feed for the house comes in there and the shop comes in there. So that doesn't work. So I just tried to pull off center. And of course, when you pull off center, there's always something in the way. There's a hole in my concrete. And the hole in the concrete is for the shower. I got a shower and a toilet going in there, and I left holes in there with the pipe coming through. Of course I did, right where it's going. The wheel would just clip it, and I don't want the vehicle to fall in the hole. So I was trying to think about how to put a piece of wood in there. I had a piece of LVL, which is pretty darn strong. I'm going to use that to go over it. And Maria had the idea, couldn't you fill a hole with something, put a block in or something? And she was right, so I was a little scared putting pressure on the pipes that are down there, but it's probably still a lot safer than anything else. So I, put 3 concrete blocks in there, solid ones to fill it, and they're just barely below, so it's just if the wood flexes, it'll touch it. So I don't want to put a lot of pressure on, but it'll help if the wood flexes a bit. I'm all lined up. I put my lift bar on the actual wall so that it spreads the load across the wall, and I've using 2 straps, obviously not one, and I'm using them on the bar that hangs across. It's got a retainer on each side so it can't pop off. So I'll cross my fingers a bit and see what happens, but keep telling myself it can't be rocket science, but I don't know. After dropping that one, I'm being a little bit more careful this one. I want to see if I can get it up myself. So anyways, I'll reposition the camera so that I don't have to play with it, and you guys can watch it all happen. Cross your fingers. Oh, I can breathe again. Well, you know, it went up carefully with a little bit of touch of go. I didn't realize how close I came to those pipes in the ground, but man, I made it by. I might have just touched them looking at the wheel, but I made it by. It doesn't look like I broke anything. And I climbed up the ladder and already tied the tops up. I clamped the bottom. Nothing's nailed yet. That's what I gotta do now. Nail it, and then I gotta get a brace, put that up so it doesn't fall back. Get a sledgehammer, put a couple stakes in the ground, stake it out. At least that section's up. Now I think I might, I don't know. I don't know if I'll build another wall or if I'll stand this one up and then cross brace that. That kind of holds that section that we just put up. I still gotta do the little pieces in between too, the blocking. That always takes time, as I showed you guys before. But anyways, it is up. I didn't drop it. A one-person job. I'm kind of impressed. That's nothing I usually do. I just gotta get that machine over there yet without killing anything, and I think we'll be okay. Man. And I had my audience. See if I can swing around here and see if we can find them for you. Maria's up on the balcony. And my baby Buttons is under the truck in the shade. And let's see if I can find these guys for you. There they are. There they are, guys. They're eating away, watching away, going along with the flow. Whoops. Like watching nature. It's kind of the ugly adolescent stage. You can see there. We laugh. Look kind of prehistoric almost. Anyways, I am going to go back to work. So. Got my old nail gun back, thank goodness. Turns out, when I was telling you guys to put oil in it every day, which it clearly says on it, oil every day, it says in the instructions oil every day, you gotta be careful what kind of oil. I was using tool oil made for air tools, and that made sense since it's an air tool. Gum the inside up. That's all they found. They cleaned it, it works. Turns out that when I bought some other oil the other day that was made for a nail gun, it's a lot thinner. It was clear. It was nothing. The stuff I was using almost looked like transmission fluid, which was thin, but not as thin as this. This was almost like water, the stuff I bought. Probably some difference. They didn't specify, so I didn't realize. Which is, Oil Daily, I did. They said it looks great, just gummed up. All right, fine. So it's clean now and working again. So never mind all the new guns, everything else. My old one is back in operation. So thank you to Home Depot and Rigid. They got it back to me in a week. I was impressed. And it hasn't misfired since I've gotten it. Not a single misfire. Not a single jam. It stopped when there's a stop when nailed. The only minor thing is a little bit heavy, and this darn trigger keeps turning from bump to single fire, and that's been a problem since day one. It's just the way they designed it. It's the only complaint I have on the thing. Otherwise, we love it. If you're wondering when I was pounding up there, turns out this wall even though we nailed it, banana, just a little bit on the bottom. You know, I can just see light through the bottom of the sill, so it was up a bit. 4-pound sledge, pound them down there even, join them at the top tight so they can't move. Hit a sledgehammer, push the walls together, tighten the sill down there. Now I know the top sill and the bottom sill are the same length, guaranteed, that I measured them. They're tight together, whatever goes that end will be square. And there's a whole discussion, you probably saw me using the screws on top. They are not drywall screws. So if anybody starts writing in the comment, hey, you can't do that, you're right, you can't. Drywall screws are incredibly brittle. They are strong, but they are brittle, and they're not structural, and they will shear. They, you know, I know they work, you can use them, people do it all the time, but they're not truly correct. A nail is very ductile. You'll try pulling it, it'll bend 100, you know, over and over before it breaks. Much more ductile, it takes much more of a load that way. It's not going to just shear. Anyways, those were actual real screws up there. What do you call it? Structural screws, not drywall screws. They're even coated so they can take the weather. And not they will ever, they'll be covered in, but still. I'll still use my nail gun to go up and down the whole thing, but I still like a screw once in a while. It will pull it in tight, it will make sure it does not move, it will make sure it doesn't pull out. I'd probably screw a house together and throw it up to me. So, my little brother laughed because he's the same way. I think he'll screw a whole house together before he nails one. Well, I'm not sure how good this camera is at night, but it's, I don't even know what time it is. 9 o'clock? Let's check. 8:57. Almost 9. Sun's going down, or gone down. It's a warm, muggy night. You don't get many of those in Vermont. My wall is up. I have a couple pieces of bracing. 2 on the outside, 1 on the inside. I put the blocking on, I pulled it tight. At the top, you probably saw me doing that, maybe. Nailed, screwed, everything else all the way along. Place the blocking done, it's finished. Tomorrow, they say rain. We'll see. If it's not, then either I'll stand this little wall up that I got built right in front of the camera here, or I'll start building the next one that you can kind of see in the foreground, the corner of. I can start building that one the same way and stand both those up on the same time. They need an LVL between them for a doorway, so we'll see. Anyways, just thought I'd finish up with a quick little 2-second video showing you guys it's up. We only had one near miss. I threw a piece of wood down on the outside of the building, and it somehow bounced, and I don't know if it got caught coming through the wall or what, and hit the darn ladder. Jesus, gave me a heart attack. I thought I was going to knock the ladder out from under me. That was close. That was... I don't like too close calls because I was on the very top edge. Oh well. All is good. Everybody have yourselves a great night. I'm just going to pull some plastic over the tools and go take a shower. Have a good one, guys. Bye-bye. Hey guys, I hope everybody's doing well. Probably should have had the video out here earlier, but I just started working away this morning. We had for the last couple days I've been working on a small wall. It's just a simple wall, but just seemed to have little issues, just trying to make sure I got things right and lined up right and the spacing right. That is actually going to end up being the corner of the building at one point in there. It's going to hold an LVL, actually 3 of them, that will jump that 14-foot gap and then hold a small wall above it that'll hold the gable truss. So it just had to be right in the other corner. I wanted right because that is the corner of the building. You'll see it, so you want it square and well built, because that'll also take an LVL that'll run on top of all the windows in the front of the opening, because there'll be a couple of windows in there, and it's going to act as a header, and it will extend out past the doorway and hold up the roof above the above the door. I'm going to extend the roof out 4 feet above the door, and that LVL will also hold that. So you wanted it all to be right. And it just took a lot of little playing and agonizing over and kind of scratching my head over a couple times. But I got it built. And I put my hinges on the bottom again. I probably could have just lifted it by hand. It was heavy. I tried. I got it partway up, and I thought, well, this is kind of dumb because if I lift it by hand, I still have no way of holding it. It's going to come back down on me. So I used the machine, lifted it up, and that was great. Finished it by hand when it was like 99% up. Pushed it over the rest of the way, and then just pulled up the machine all the way to take the slack out, which is a good thing because it did already tried to tip once, and luckily the rope caught it. That's why I left it on, and I clamped it right away. That's what I was trying to do, get it clamped so it stays. Now I've got to level it and square it, a few other things there, because it's just out a little bit. I've got Adobe's 6-foot level there, and I was checking it, and you can see where the wall is just maybe a 1/4 inch out of square. And also it's got to come in towards the main wall, maybe a 1/4 of an inch too, something like that. Not much, but enough to bug me. It's got to be done right. So that's what I'm going to do for the rest of the night now. Square it up, and I've got some little blocks I want to put in that'll hold it. So I think I'll just let the camera run for a while, and you guys can watch. Maria will put it together. She's got a picture of me lifting the other wall too earlier, so she said she'd give an update since we didn't have one last week. And then I can jump on. I've already got the rest of the front. I've already got one of the sills marked, and I'd like to get all this front together. I gotta get these LVLs on order some night. Put the order in so I could get ready to close this up, but you have to. That's what's going to join the walls together, so you definitely need them. So, anyways, that's what we're up to. So off and running, and I hope you guys are having a good week, good weekend, wherever way you're watching this. All right. did this one over here because I didn't want it to pull all this wall out of the square. I just want to pull that little section, so this will hold all these in the same position. I'm still playing out here. Must have been more than a half hour. The camera went to sleep. I don't know how much you guys saw. Move the machine away, and I put a board all the way across. So I didn't pull all the other studs out when I pulled this wall square. I checked it half a dozen times. See what's square. Looks square. So now I'm going to go and double check the, put some little blocks between to hold it there. Hopefully that'll hold it. Get that done. See where we're at. I'm being real cautious. I'm afraid that if I put that piece in just too tight, they'll push it out. If I put it in too loose, we'll pull it in. I'm trying to maintain that wall square, straight up and down. Vertical. Just, pounding this piece in, but that's what's going to actually go together. So all the sheeting goes on. So as you put on sheeting, as you put on other parts, everything will help hold it. But right now, there isn't a lot holding that straight compared to this wall. Again, I hate levels. They're just, every vial isn't even perfect with the next vial. They're so close, but are they within the two lines? Yeah, definitely. But how close do you want to be within those lines? And we're only talking, I don't know, 1/8 of an inch difference top to bottom if you're just squeeze it one way or just squeeze it the other, touching the line. But you want as close as you can. Not even sure how I can get a nail in there without screwing it up, so I'll put a couple screws in it. Hey guys, Sunday afternoon and Maria's just putting the video together for me. I thought I'd have more to show you, but I have spent half a day just scratching my head and trying to figure out where to go next. This is one of those little problems where you run into a little trouble spot, and hopefully there won't be too many of these in the building, but this is one of the spots where I kind of got a little bit frustrated today, and I've been sitting on the computer for about 3 hours trying to draw the best way to solve it. And the problem is, it's one of those problems that there is no right way in my mind. I don't find an elegant way of solving the problem, so I don't like the idea of just shoving more and more wood into a spot to solve it. But the problem I'm running into here, and just to show you guys, because I think you'll probably see on the next video in the next week or two how it's going to work out. If you look at the small wall where it joins onto the big wall, that is going to be a double or a triple, LVL sitting on that spot. That LVL will take, and LVL is just a beam, it's a plywood beam, if you will. That LVL will carry the load of the wall above it and the gable end of the roof all the way over that opening that you see there, the 14 feet. And that's makes sense. You need it. That's how you do a garage door opening. That's how you do a window opening. If it's large, that's how you do any opening. So that's what I need. So that means that on this little wall, which is what I'm probably going to build next. Let's see if I can zero in here. I'll jump in here. On this little wall here, I'll try talking a little louder so you can hear me. Little wall, 10'6", nothing. But that end right there has got to hold the other end of the LVL. So I need something heavy there. You need to have a good chunk of wood. So it'll probably be made up of at least 3 of the 2x6s nailed together. And I'll probably need a spacer in there, because 3 2x6s nailed together is only 4.5 inches. And to get it to fit on a 5.5-inch sill, you need a 1-inch spacer. So I'll put 2 pieces of particle board or something between them, whatever, plywood, something 1/2 inch to build it out. Fine. That'll take me up to the same level of that one, so we can lay the beam across. Then I've got to tie into the wall here, because that new wall will be coming across in here. You got to make sure wherever you lay out those studs, you got to make sure you have something to hit right there, or else it won't work either. If you miss the studs, you got to tie the wall into it. Fine. And the last difficulty on this one, that's the garage door opening. When the garage door opening goes in there, you also need to pick up an LVL going up over there. So I will need another spot like that one, which would have been simple if they would have just ended the concrete at the right spot, and I could have picked it up right there, done 3 2x6s again together, nailed them together. They will have to end at the 14-foot mark instead of at the 9-foot mark. Would have been simple. Nothing simple. What happened was, when they were doing my concrete here and they poured it, they put a little bit of a slope opening on the entrance of it. Let me see if I can zero in on it for you. And it kind of made sense at the time. I didn't even think about it, to be honest, but let's see if I can pick up on it. There it is. All right. So what happened was, that's the end of the garage opening. You can see how the slope goes under the sill. Now the sill's a little bit long. I've got 3 inches off there, but still, there's a good 3 or 4 inches of sill hanging out with no support under it. Wonderful. If you go put your uprights on there to hold the LVL, you're going to have nothing under it. There's nothing to hold the weight. It'll just sag out, and it's just wrong. You have to have support underneath the beam. You can't just put it over nothing. You can't just cantilever the end of your sill. So I tried to patch it once and put something under there, and that didn't stay. So it's got to be done. So I put them hot a bit, and I went online and I talked to a couple guys, and they said, oh yeah, these guys always do this. They pull them back a bit, and a lot of times they just avoid it if it's not big. But since this is a 14-foot door, it's big. It's going to have a lot of weight up on that LVL. So what I think that most people seem to do, from what I can tell, is if they really want to do it right, they try to get the weight to go, say, further back, say where it becomes solid, maybe a foot back or something like that. But you can't have a foot of solid wood And again, so you know, I'm trying to, and you still need a good solid piece at the end, because if you don't put a good solid piece at the end, you won't have anywhere to mount the garage hardware. So, you know, it's just a ongoing issues here. So I sat there and I drew it on the computer, and I drew it like 4 or 5 different ways, and I think finally in the end I came up with something. It's still going to take, let me see, I got the drawing in my hand here. Here we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pieces of wood in there right at the end. And it could even take an 8th if I want to do it right. And it's just like, you know, really? That many pieces of wood just to the end to take the load because they, you know, went 3 inches too large. But even, you know, it's just 3 inches over or whatever. But, you know, 3 inches is the full 2 2x6s, though they're going to almost be there for show, if you will, just to hold the edge of the door, hold the trim, and hold the door hardware, and not to really take the weight of the beam above it. So it's just, yeah, frustrating. I just wish things were done right. And that's why I know sometimes I can be a pain in the butt, and I go through and I want things measured right and done right and everything. And I know people work with me sometimes look at me and go, why? What difference does it make? Because it's stuff like this. It just takes time and takes effort and takes money. Because now you're going to waste wood, and you're going to, you know, at $30 a piece, there's at least 4 in the end just to take up that gap. And then I gotta build them, make sure they're square. So now you gotta make sure that's square, and the ones holding the beam beside it are square. And just frustrating, that's all. But anyhow, all that said and done, I think I got a plan. It's not the most elegant, but it at least covers all the bases. They'll make sure there's good solid wood underneath the beam, and make sure the other end's going to tie in, and make sure that the wall actually hits the stud in the right place, and the studs are actually still a 16-inch center, so you can make sure you hit them when you do the outside with the OSB. So I think I've got a plan. Anyhow, that is my excitement. That's what I'm worked on this morning. That's why I'm out here, just coming outside now, and I'll start doing some cutting and squaring up. And you know, I almost thought of doing one of the other walls first, but really this needs to be done because the LVL hits it, and you got to make sure that LVL, when it hits it, is going to establish the distance between that wall, this wall, the center wall. It all has to be the right length. You can't start having things go wonky in or out, or nothing will line up. Again, I'm really dependent on the width of this building being correct, so that when we drop the roof trusses on, they line up. So I think I got it under control, but we'll find out. This also means this wall's got to be very critical as far as square goes. So some of the other ones, if they were out of hair here or there, wouldn't matter as much, but this is going to end up being pretty critical how square it is. So cross your fingers for me. Anyways, that is my excitement. And we're onward and upward with bigger and better things. If you guys like the video, I enjoyed it, I should say, please like it or subscribe. And we'll see you guys all in a week or two, and you can see how I make out. All right? Hope everybody's having a good one. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.